Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another special episode of Agree to Disagree. This is a first debate special 2020. I just want to play you this part. This is pretty funny. Here, let it just speak for itself.
All right. Vice President Biden, you are holding much smaller events with...
Nobody will show up.
People with...
It's true. Nobody shows up to his rallies.
All right. Vice President...
All right, so that was kind of funny.
Inside a dumpster fire.
This is another one. I can't reset it.
That was a hot mess inside a dumpster fire inside a train wreck.
That was a hot mess inside a dumpster fire inside a train wreck. It's pretty funny. And that is really how I felt. The whole first 30 minutes is like, shut up. You know, and it just reminds me. It reminds me that presidential politics is a boxing match. You know, you don't get 7 rounds, 8 rounds, 10 rounds, whatever they predetermine. You get 3, usually. 3. It's kind of like how Trump came out last time. You know, really swinging, really... You know, it's not really rope-a-dope. It's just a... It's an intimidation, I think. It's a steamrolling. And it was, in my opinion, it was too much. And I remember thinking this way 4 years ago. I was like, this does not seem presidential. And then for round 2, round 3, he dialed it back, focused in. I mean, all we can go on is precedent, right? Let's go on precedent. So, what were your thoughts? We're getting some instant feedback from some people. Yeah, I don't know. What would you grade the debate? I would grade the debate. I think Chris Wallace lost. It's hard to blame him for how Trump was acting. You know, and for typical, like, you're a liar. Yes, that's what politicians say all the time. But Biden had some insults. Called him a clown and a few other things. Biden was the one that was kind of stepping over the line of a little too much. And his energy faded as it went. First half hour was hard to watch. Cheers to you. He didn't say malarkey tonight, so maybe your bingo card didn't get filled up. Man, let me just read you a couple of tweets. To know that this is the best we could do. Yeah, and some of the comments, Rogan should do the next debate. Yeah, hands down. I would host a better debate. You know why? I would have a mute button. See how I muted that word I wasn't supposed to say? He said the quiet part loud and the loud part quiet. You have a mute button. Ding. Your mic is live. Go ahead. Just like a Zoom meeting. All right, I've muted all the channels. Tom, go ahead. Joe Biden, go ahead. Mr. President, go ahead. All right, Joel Pollack tweets, Chris Wallace asked Trump to condemn white supremacists as if he hasn't before. Uneffing believable. Yes. Seriously. What are you even doing? Out of all the presidents in the history of this nation, with all the checkered past and seedy background, the scars and the pains that this country has had with serious racism, like actual racism, not the stuff that these college professors are telling you everything's a microaggression. They're full of it. They're absolutely full of it. They've wasted way too much money on getting college degrees, and they have nowhere to go in the real world to earn an income with it, so then they have to become teachers to indoctrinate more students, to push more of the, and peddle more of this racial division crap. There used to be something that was serious in this country called the KKK. They haven't been serious my whole life. When is the last time they were relevant? But out of all of the presidents in all the history of this entire country, President Trump is the only one to designate the KKK as a domestic terror organization. And he also did with Antifa, because they are domestic terrorists. BLM, the organization, is too. But he just went with Antifa for now. But they're domestic terrorists. President Trump declared them domestic terrorists. He's disavowed all that stuff. Chris Wallace came... Let me read you another quote. Because some of these questions, I couldn't believe that this is what we were stooping to on a presidential stage. This one's pretty great. Follow us on Twitter at American_media_. I don't know if you can see this. How far back do I have to get so you can see this? Too much light? Do I have to turn the light off? Oh, there we go. Oh, almost. Hold on. Here, I'll turn the lights off. That should work. Oh. Oh, come on. This is not supposed to be... This should not be this complicated. I need a better graphics team. Oh, there you go. Oh, jeez. Finally got it right. This joke isn't even that funny anymore. Somebody posted this. It's Trump with his resting stern face. Okay, maybe this way would work. Oh, perfect. Someone posted this and said, Indica versus Sativa. Pretty funny. I thought that was great. So follow us on Twitter at American_media_. All right. Some of the posts we had, regardless of who you're pulling for, I think we can all agree that Joe Rogan would do a much better job moderating this thing than Chris Wallace. The Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Our sports show asked what was more painful to watch tonight, the Cleveland Indians' performance against the Yankees, getting whooped 3-12, or this debate. Mark Dice said Biden was speechless when pressed to name one law enforcement group that supports him. Yeah, there's your commercial. That you cut that part out. I mean, it's awkward silence and nothingness. The police know. They know who's throwing them under the bus for political gain. So, I mean, the question is, who won the debates? Was it Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or Chris Wallace? I'd say Donald Trump won the debate. I didn't like his tactics. I didn't care for him. I feel like he left a lot on the table while he was too busy trying to interrupt and intimidate. You know, name another president that has this many accomplishments under his belt. Well, I can turn these back on now. That has this many accomplishments under his belt in, 47 weeks or however many we're at now. Almost 4 years. 3 Nobel Peace Prize nominations. Brought the Big Ten back. He started making that point, didn't really get to finish it. He wasn't really touting where he's excelled and where he's won. And I think that was a mistake. But right now, 68% of our votes on Twitter, Donald Trump. They say Chris Wallace came in second. Yeah, and a lot of, why is Chris Wallace covering for Hunter Biden? I mean, you actually have a Russian collusion story, but it's the Bidens. How is this not relevant? We've heard these fake news stories for how long now? About phony Russian collusion. Katie Pavlich says, it is a fact that Hunter Biden received $3.5 million from the wife of Moscow's mayor. For what? Mark Levin saying Hillary Clinton manufactured the Russian collusion story for which she should pay a big price. Yes, President Trump did get to that. I don't know that he really drove it home, and I don't know that it's going to be driven home until there are charges filed. You know, like we all know that the Biden-Obama campaign spied on Donald Trump and refused to cede power. And they had the deep state working behind the scenes to try to overthrow him in a coup attempt. I mean, this is a literal coup attempt of the sitting president of the United States. And they're not in jail. And it's frustrating. The president gets a C for bringing it up, but he didn't drive it home. He needs to drive that home. Because it's obvious to anyone who's been paying attention for the past 3-4 years what's been going on. Steven Crowder said Biden hangs his head in shame as he can't name a single law enforcement organization that has supported him. True. Dan Bongino echoes kind of what I was feeling. You know, I've been harsh on President Trump so far. I have the right to. So be it. It is what it is. But Dan Bongino tweets, Trump is debating 2 people tonight. And it really did feel that way. Do you think that was the case? Did it seem like they were 2 against 1? Because I kind of feel like that's what it was like. Also, grade the performance of Donald Trump tonight. Our polls have it kind of split. C, the way you do it, you can't have 5 different poll questions. You can have 4, I guess. So I went to 3. A to B. You either got an A or a B, or a C, or a D and an F. D to an F. And they've graded an F. Second place, A to B. Middle is a C. So, interesting. The performance of Joe Biden, an F. Nobody gave him an A or B. And 21%, just like in the other one, got a C. So I think this shows a general distaste for this type of bombastic, I don't know, just bully babble? Could I say bully babble? Kind of feels like that was Trump's technique. It's called bully babble. Just a lot of talking and a lot of verbal clutter. I think people tune out on that. Does that help the president? Does that hinder the president? Chris Wallace, once again, A, B, or C, or DF. And he got a 20% on the C. Just like everybody got 20% C, but only 7% A, B. 73% graded him a D or an F. So we tweeted out earlier, Trump came out a little too fired up during the first half hour of the presidential debate, leading to over-talking and interrupting. Not much else notable for the first third of this play. Moving on, Chris Wallace brings up this effing fake news fine people hoax again. Good God. The full clip of the audio clearly disproves this thoroughly debunked lie. Why do people keep repeating it? Do they forget that we have the internet to do our own research? This is an embarrassing question. That was our take on the fine people question. You gotta be kidding that this is still a thing that people are talking about. I talked to my good friend today. He's sadly super liberal. He even has a Biden sign in his yard, as if he has any enthusiasm for that candidate. But he was even talking about the fine people. He wouldn't have said it if he wasn't trying to give himself an... Look, the only president in U.S. history to ever condemn the KKK by officially designating them as a terrorist organization. Are you kidding? This has never happened before? Just to put the nail in the coffin. God, there were fine people who were brought out there. People who were duped under false pretenses at Charlottesville. People who don't want history destroyed, leave it up. You want to put an addendum to history, add another monument marker, add another statue next to it to fully explain the rest of the story? Fine. But there's something weird about erasing history. It's very Orwellian. You don't have to be a white supremacist to hate seeing that stuff happen. You want a second statue? Put a second statue next to him and tell more of the story. Highlight somebody else that defeated them or their ideas, blah, blah. Do it. Or, you know, make a graveyard of old statues, but toppling them down in the middle of the night with mob rule. This is crazy. This is crazy. So there were people there. They were just like, don't tear stuff down. And if it was co-opted with other people, the president clearly said that. And I'm not talking about Nazis or white supremacists. And I'm not talking about Nazis or white supremacists. He literally said the exact same thing that people keep bringing up. That Joe Biden will still regurgitate that lie. It's just shameful. It's just shameful. Then we said, OMG. Now a Breonna Taylor question. Did Chris Wallace not review the report that clearly shows that the police who were legally executing a search warrant were fired upon first by her boyfriend, which directly led to her death? How is this a debate question? Why is this being brought into a debate? What does this have to do with a debate? Fail. Epic fail. Next one. And now a white supremacist and militia denouncement question from Chris Wallace. Dude is a broken record of silly MSNBC talking points. Sure, talking over each other is embarrassing, but Chris Wallace absolutely crapped the bed with this moderator job. Moderator job. So those are just a few of my takeaways from the debate tonight. I'm curious to hear what you think. I don't know what we do with this, other than file it away and, you know, I mean, I guess it's a win for Biden. He didn't pull a Jerry Nadler. He did not take a drug test, as far as I can tell. I wish Trump would have just given Biden more room to let Biden ruin himself. But it's all about style and tactics, you know, and I've watched a few of the campaign rallies, and some of it was, you know, he goes back to some tried and true phrases like, and by the way, do you blame Trump for 204,000 deaths from corona? Did President Trump unleash this? I mean, I saw the president every day giving press briefings when the nation was in crisis, putting the USS Mercy and the Comfort, one on the East Coast, one on the left coast, turning the Javits Center into a triage ward, ramping up manufacturing at all these manufacturing plants, and that's a little redundant, I suppose, making ventilators. Turns out ventilators might not be the best way to handle this. If you go on a ventilator, you're supposed to stay and fight it so that you stay strong. If you are sedated and you allow a ventilator to breathe for you, that's when you're kind of a goner on COVID. But we were short on them, and New York was demanding a ton of them. So we made them. I saw a president working really hard every single day to try to make it happen. You know, and look, Florida has now, I believe, lifted all of their restrictions on masks, on gatherings, on social distancing. They're just saying, go back to it. Let's go. We got to open up. Let's get back to life. The data now is looking more and more like this is very similar in a lot of diagnostical measurements to the regular flu. Got to open up. Geez, Disney was what was it, the number 19,000 maybe? Layoffs because California just they're hostile and unwilling to open. Although here's a ray of sunshine. I did hear that Comic-Con is going to proceed with December 11th at the convention center. Maybe I'll go. Never been to a Comic-Con. But I just want to support things opening up again. You got to get back to the real world. You got to get back to your life. Of course, 2 NFL teams had, one team tested positive, the Tennessee Titans, and then the Minnesota Vikings quarantined out of due diligence and just an abundance of caution. Look, we're learning. We're learning how to handle this. You get an outbreak, you nip it in the bud, and then you continue. Hey, that's the world. Let's do it. I mean, it's 99 point something per survival rate up until 18 years old. It's 99 point something percent survival rate up until 29 years old. It's 99 point something percent up until 39 years old. It's like, if you're under 75, you got a good shot of making it through this. And there's something that can be said about the herd immunity, being exposed to things that you develop immunity toward. Would you take a vaccine? I can't say that I would be lining up for a vaccine. So if we don't do a vaccine, it's kind of like herd immunity is going to be the only thing. I remember a story in The Onion. It said like 97% of Americans want everybody else to take the subway or to take public transportation. God, that's so perfect. Yes, everybody's like, yeah, you do it. I want to drive, and I don't want to sit in traffic. So you go to the train station. It's like, yeah. Why'd I bring that up? I don't know. We always want something. We always want other people to do things. So anyway, what do you grade the debate? Who won? Who lost? Give me a letter grade for Trump, for Biden, for Wallace. I'll give a D plus to Joe Biden. He really dug himself some holes that you're going to be able to hammer down on for round 2. His Green New Deal stuff, oh Lord, is that wacky. The fact that no police supported him, and maybe the number's not 0 or no. But let's compare. That's something you can drill down on. I think President Trump would be smart to really focus on his accomplishments. Hammer that home. Don't even worry about what Biden's doing. Hammer your accomplishments. But I'll give Joe Biden a D plus because he didn't pull a Jerry Nadler. He didn't fall asleep. He didn't catch COVID and fall over. The bar was so low for him. D plus. I'd give President Trump I'll go with a C, not a C minus, almost a C minus. Give him a C. His points make more sense than the points of the left in general. He conveyed some of it. He brought some attacks out that might have some legs. Chris Wallace, I'm gonna flunk him. That's an F. Chris Wallace, it was. Oh, and then climate change. We didn't even get into climate change yet. Climate change? You're telling me that's what you think is causing the fires in California? Are you out of your mind? Remember the Delta smelt? For some reason, I'll never forget the Delta smelt. It was like some little creature. And so they had to cut off the water supply to farmers and just starve people out of their properties and their farms and their livelihoods. Over the Delta smelt. In California, every year. And Trump did bring this up, and it was a good point. He scored some points on this. That's why it's not a C minus. Maybe it's a C plus. As I review this again, I'm going off the top of my head. I didn't take notes. Frankly, I found it hard to listen to. But California burning. They've got to maintain their undergrowth, their underbrush, They need to clear out all the other stuff. And frankly, you know what? You're sitting there on the Pacific coast. Pump some tubes full of water. You don't need to filter it. You don't need to whatever. Just pump it into some tubes. Make these super long tubes, the longest tubes you've ever seen, and run them through the areas that are prone to wildfires. And put them in a sheath, a material, a sausage casing, if you will. I envision this long strand of sausage. Right. It's been a long night. But I envision it in some sort of casing that melts at fire temperature, and when it melts, it dumps all the water. Would this really be that hard to do? Pump it in off the Pacific. You have access to all the water you want. And just line the forests with water, ready to burst open or shoot up if a certain temperature is reached. It's very similar. My dad used to work in sprinklers, piping. And so, I got to learn a little bit about it. And, the fire systems go off when the temperatures reach a certain point. Why can't we do the same in the forest? Hey, Elon Musk, make it happen. On the Pacific coast, pump it full of salt water. Line the forests. If a fire breaks out, shoot this stuff. Shoot it up in the air like a sprinkler system if you have to. Drench the ground. I don't know. Whatever's going to stop it. Do it. So that's just a thought. Chris Wallace talking about climate change. There's a gender reveal party that shot the flames off that started one of these things. There's a homeless encampment, last year, a couple years ago? This isn't climate change. The climate has always changed. I like the president says, I want crystal clear water, I want pristine air to breathe. Like, okay. Who doesn't? You got to balance business with reality. There's a way that all these things can exist. So I'll give Trump, I'll just set, not a C+. I can't, there were moments. There were moments that he scored a few points, but I think the tactics took a few points off. He could have had a B-. He ended up with a C. Not a C+, but a C. Chris Wallace is the clear loser. It's tough to blame him for Trump acting the way that he did. And look, Biden brought out, called Trump names, a clown and other things that, not presidential, if you will. But just a line of questioning from Chris Wallace. It was not great. It wasn't fantastic. So let me know your thoughts. What do you think? What do you grade the people at? Trump, Biden, Wallace? What do you want to hear in the next debate? All right, do you even care? Have you already cast your vote? Tell me your story. Are you on the fence? What are you thinking? Because can't believe it. We're almost here. But you know what? I'll tell you, the end of it really got me thinking about these mail-in ballots. I got a bad feeling about them. I've had people reach out to me and tell me that they're getting 3 or 4 ballots with their name on it, and they never requested them. Something is wrong with this. So that was a good ending. Let me know what you think. Type your comments below, click subscribe, and I'll talk with you later. Appreciate you guys. Take care. Peace.